I can't tell you what a relief the invention of digital photography has been for me. It used to be very embarrassing for me when you had to go and get your photographs developed, because I would know that the person developing them would be so horrified that all I had given him was a lot of pictures of fruit and veg and some meals I'd eaten instead of pictures of my lovely children. These are some pictures from a recent jaunt to Venice. Look at that beautiful picture. So the fish market at the Rialto. So there's my salmon trout and there's incredible mackerel. And then I've got lots and lots of tomatoes on the vine. Look at those blackberries, aren't they fantastic? And when I was in Venice too, I saw some carrot cake on a menu. I was very surprised because I've always thought that carrot cake was American. And I know what purist Italians are. But no, it turns out that actually carrot cake comes from Venice, and indeed from the Venetian ghetto of Shylock fame. So of course, when I got back, I had to try and recreate it myself. This Venetian carrot cake couldn't be more different from the towering, richly frosted American version. The Venetian version is relatively simple, certainly easy to make, but it is fabulous to eat, marzipan-y and moist. Obviously, they share the same ingredient. Grated carrots. You need 2 large carrots or about 3 medium. Coarsely grated is fine, so to speak. I'm all for laziness and shortcuts, but I find that if you use a processor, it makes the carrots not only too fine, but also too wet. Those can just sit there while I get on with the cake. I want 150 grams of caster sugar, and this is an interesting part, 125 ml of olive oil. Don't use extra virgin, it'll make it too peppery. These just need to be mixed together, and I have to say it's much easier than creaming butter and sugar by hand. Not that that's impossible. I'm going to move whiskwards now because 3 eggs need to be beaten in and I want to get some air into them. There aren't any raising agents in this cake, so all the lift comes from the eggs. A teaspoon of vanilla, or thereabouts. And now let's beat some air into this. I mean, luckily you don't need to beat too much air because it's quite a heavy cake, and I mean that in the best way because I'm using ground almonds in place of flour. So if I get too much air in it, it'll rise and then just sink, collapse later. And this way it'll be a perfect, crumbly but compact disc. Now into this bowl goes some ground almonds. I use ground almonds in place of flour, and not only do these almonds give the cake its characteristic marzipan-y depth, but they ensure that along with the oil, this cake is gluten-free and dairy-free. I'm going to try and be patient. It's not my strong point, but just to stir the ground almonds into the liquid mixture. I find this golden colour so immensely cheering. Nutmeg. Love the sweet scent of nutmeg. Do feel free to use ground nutmeg out of the jar, but I rather love doing this and I think the taste is superior. Certainly the scent is. And now these are golden sultanas that have soaked up a shot of rum. That is a rhapsody in gold. I want the grated zest and juice of about half a lemon. I love the zest of lemon. It's the zest you get the fragrance from. Now I'll squeeze in the juice. I don't mind getting a few pips into the cake batter. Proves it's homemade. Obviously the carrots. Had I grated these with a machine, I'd have to put them in a tea towel and squeeze all the excess liquid out, whereas I don't need to. Final fold. And into a 23 centimetre spring form, which I've oiled with a bit of olive oil around the sides and put a liner in. Batter goes in. Look at the colour. Instant sunshine. Just mixing up the batter for this cake is enough to cheer me up on a dull day. Vague notion here of flattening the top. And finally, before this goes into the oven, and it needs about 30-40 minutes at 180, a scattering of toasted pine nuts. I love these on sweet food as much as on savoury. They always make things feel so glamorous, but not in a showy way. And here it is. We're done. I like to serve with it something that really refers to the American cream cheese icing idea, and I mix up about a 250 gram tub of mascarpone with 2 teaspoons of icing sugar and a generous shot of rum. And then I put that in a bowl with a spoon on the table alongside the cake. Although this is fantastic for when you have friends over, I firmly believe you owe it to yourself to enjoy a little solitary indulgence. Chocolate, golden syrup, cinnamon. I mean, you know it's going to be good. And these ingredients really help me evoke gorgeous memories of eating in Spain. Any excuse to make churros. Churros are kind of dunkable donuts, and what I'm going to dunk them in is a luscious, rich chocolate sauce. So I'm going to start off with some dark chocolate, 100 grams of it, a whole bar. I mean, obviously when you make a chocolate sauce, it's up to you how much milk or dark chocolate you put in. But why I like to major on the dark chocolate is, I suppose, the sauce is in that sort of whole Mexican tradition, and Mexican chocolate is dark. But a bit of milk chocolate, just 25 grams. In that goes. Now a glossy splodge of golden syrup. Followed by 150 mils of double cream. You don't need a double boiler to cook the chocolate, just let it melt gently into the cream. All I have to do now is leave these ingredients to melt slowly, or by themselves, or stir them together at the end, turn it down, and turn on the oil. I relish a bit of fear in the kitchen. Feel the fear and cook it anyway. That's my mantra. I certainly think, I want to make things easier. So when I'm deep frying, I always use a small pan. I don't do a huge batch because that is just daunting, but this is easy. So is the churros, or so are the churros, I should say. 125 grams of flour, and a teaspoon of baking powder. That's how I start, very plain. Now onto that, I want some oil, a bit of olive oil, with the chocolate, out of temptation's way. Just a tablespoonful of olive oil, anything like that, anything tasteless and inexpensive. So that's the oil, and on top, 250 mils of hot water. There's something celebratory, I think, about donuts. Well, these special ones, I don't know, it reminds me of lovely holidays and the sort of treat of something you don't eat every day. And I've got my long-time kitchen confidant, Hetty Cumming, who is sporting a very impressive new bulge at the moment. So this is to celebrate her and her bump. I did say any excuse for churros. Nice to be able to blame it on someone else. This is a very, very simple recipe, and very grateful for the inspiration provided by Thomasina Myers for this, not least because I love the name Thomasina, because my late sister was called Thomasina. My daughter's middle name is Thomasina. Anyway, chocolate's melted. Look. Yum. Now, you may have been wondering what this inelegant package is. In fact, it's not that inelegant. This is a very beautiful wine cooler, which obviously came into my life because I needed somewhere to park my pastry bag. And that pastry bag is what I shall squeeze the churros out of. Now, pretend this is the most expensive hand cream. Oil up. And that will help me lift the dough inside the piping bag. But I can't tell you how lovely it is squidging things out of that bag. Right. I am ready. Oil testing. This is how you test to see whether oil is hot enough for deep frying. You put a cube of bread in, and if it goes gold, you know it's hot enough. If it goes burnt, you know you left it too long. But this looks great. Right. This is my chosen method. Not for everyone, but this is how I like to do it. I cannot tell you how lovely it is just squidging out of the bag. Just a few more exquisite squidges to go. And you see this pointy nozzle? It's this which squeezes the churros out with really sharp ridges, all the better, to get crisp and golden on the outside and scoop up the divine molten chocolate sauce. Right, I have corked a churros just as I want it. The thing about these is they give you a fantastic contrast between donutty inside and crisp outside. You do need to let them wait just a teeny bit because you want the heat from outside to go right through, so what is doughy turns fluffy. After the churros are fried, I have a bit of a pre-dunking session. That's to say, before I dip them in chocolate, they're rolled in some sugar and cinnamon. I'm going to start rolling. Smells like holiday breakfast in Spain. Lovely, the rustling churros. Oh, I'm glad you've come because I've got something for you to do, Hetty. I am frightened. I need to get that sauce into between our...
Fry and get it into those small pots. Do it slowly. It smells so
luscious.
good.
Like you, darling. Now, Hetty, I'm going to say something to you that it's very unfortunate for you that you are pregnant at a time when you're told you're not allowed to eat the two. But since I'm not pregnant, I can. You can have as many as you want.
Can we just dig in?
I think we should just dig in. Quite dark sauce, isn't it?
Very.
I like that.
Did it in one bite?
That was a small one. That was a small one.
Okay.
You can have the rest.
Thank you.
You're good. You liking it?
Oh yeah.
Like him.